All right, so you're moving on to the second lesson of the day, so make sure you have done the x on both sides video lesson before you get into this one because you need those skills in order to solve these equations. So what we're going to do here is deal with even more complicated equations than the ones that we just dealt with. And our goal here, again, with the x on both sides, our first step, we were able to turn it into one of those two-step equations, and then we could use our old skills. These equations here, it doesn't matter how complicated that they look, eventually you'll be able to turn each of these equations into an x on both sides equation that you just practiced solving, and then you'll be able to do those steps in order to solve those types of equations. So this skill is called simplify and then solve. And basically, there's more going on in these equations, okay? So there's lots of terms on the left side. There's some brackets on the right side. There's a lot of stuff going on. So before I jump into this one, I'm going to get you to solve some other equations. We're going to build up to the one that's on the sheet. So again, get your whiteboard out and write down this equation here. So 3x plus 4 plus x equals 2x minus 4 plus x minus 8. So when I see that there's lots of terms going on in the equation, I know that I can turn it into an x on both sides equation where there's just two terms on each side at most. So before I think about getting rid of things, before I think about anything else, I just focus on each side of the equation as a separate entity. So I'm going to look at just the left side to start out, and I'm going to say 3x plus 4 plus x. What can I do with that? Well, that can be simplified. We have two terms there that have an x. We've got a 3x and a 1x. 3x plus 1x is 4x. And then we have a term without an x, the plus 4. So even though there was lots of terms there, once I combine my like terms, I get it down to just 4x plus 4, and that looks like the start of an equation that we just had in the last lesson. I can do the same thing to the right side. 2x plus x, that's going to be 3x. Negative 4, sign in front matters. Negative 8 makes negative 12. So there we go. Once we've done those simplified, those combined like terms, we have an x on both sides equation. Let me get rid of those. So from there, we're going to do the steps that we just learned. So we're going to get rid of, oh no, I got to plug in my computer. We got to get rid of x on one of the sides. So you pause the video, you solve this one, and then I'll solve it. So here I would get rid of the 3x, subtract 3x from both sides. You're going to be left with just 1x plus 4 equals, don't lose that minus sign, it's a negative 12 on the right side. Then get rid of the number beside x, so get the x term by itself. You get x equals negative 16 here. And since we are just having 1x here, we don't have to do the divide step. Technically there is a 1 there, and you could divide both sides by 1, but you'd still get negative 16. So we just have x equals negative 16 there. So added step here is simplify each side separately. So treat it as two separate expressions, simplify each of those expressions, and then do your solving steps from there. So here's the next one I want you to try on your whiteboard. 2 times x minus 4 equals 4 times x minus 2. So this is that distribution skill. In order to simplify the left side, again, I'm just treating it as a left side and a right side until it looks like the equations that we were solving in the first lesson. 2 times x is 2x, and then 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So both things in the brackets get multiplied by the 2. Same thing on the other side. Both things in the bracket get multiplied by the 4. There we go. Now it's an x on both sides equation. Now I can think about getting rid of things. I'll get rid of the 2x so that I have a positive in front of my x. Subtract 2x from both sides. That leaves me with negative 8. Don't drop that negative in front of the 8. Equals 2x minus 8. Get x term by itself, plus 8 and plus 8. We get 2x equals 0. Divide by 2, divide by 2, you get x equals 0 in that equation. So that's our next one. So here's another one for you to try. So again, treat each side as its own expression. You're not going to do anything to both sides until it looks like the four terms, an x term and a number on one side, an x term and a number on the other side. So pause the video, see if you can get this one to work on your own, and then unpause and watch my solution. So in order to simplify that side, we've got to multiply the -3 by both things in the bracket. So -3 times x is -3x. -3 times -2 is +6. So there's two negatives in that multiplication. On the right side, there's no multiplication to do. There's no brackets, but there are two terms that are like there. The 3x and the 2x, both are positive. So you get 5x, and then there's a -10. Now we've got two terms on each side. I'm going to start by getting rid of one of the x terms. So I'll add 3x to both sides to get rid of that -3x because I don't like the negatives. There we go. So 5x and 3x makes 8x. Then get the x term by itself. Let's get rid of that -10 by adding 10. Divide by the 8. And we get x equals 2 for that one. One more before we write down our steps on our actual lesson handout. See if you can handle this one. So pay attention to where the equal sign. This is all one expression, and this is all one expression. So the right side's already simplified. You don't have to do anything with that, but there's at least a couple steps on the left side to get it to look the same way, to get it down to two terms. So see if you can simplify that so that you have the x on both terms, both sides equation, and then see if you can solve from there. So pause the video, and then when you unpause, I'll start solving. So we have to follow BEDMAS. We have to do the multiplying first. So I have 2 times that first bracket, and I'm going to get 2x minus 6. Now be careful with the next bracket. The next bracket has a -3 in front of it. We're multiplying by -3. So -3 times x is -3x. -3 times +4 is -12. And we're still not done because that left side has more than 2 terms on it. It's got 4 terms. So we got to do one more step before we can actually start solving this thing. We've got to combine our like terms on the left side. So I have 2x, take away 3x, that makes -1x. I have -6, take away 12, that's -18. And the right side just stays as it has been the whole time. And then again, now that we've got 2 terms and 2 terms, we're going to get rid of one of the x terms. I'll get rid of the negative term. So add 1x to both sides. We're left with -18 equals now 2x minus 4. Get rid of the -4 by adding 4. -18 plus 4 is -14. Just left with the 2x. Divide by 2, divide by 2, get x equals -7 there. So those are my 3 examples to get us ready for that one that's on the sheet now, and we'll write out our steps. Alright, so going back to our sheet now, we'll fill in this lesson. Explain the steps needed to solve the following equation. So I'll kind of write the steps off to the side. So we're going to treat each side as its own expression, because that's what it is, and simplify it by distributing. That's the skill where we're multiplying the numbers in front of the brackets, and combining like terms till you have just 2 terms on each side. So an x term and a number term. So I'm going to treat this side as its own. I'm going to combine the like terms. 2x plus 4x is 6x. We have a -5 and a +7, so that becomes a +2. So that side's done. The other side's got more steps to it. So first thing we're going to have to do is multiply that 3 times the bracket and get 3 times x, and 3 times -2 is -6. There's still that plus 29, so we'll write plus 29 there. And again, this side is done. This side doesn't have just two terms yet, it's got 3, so I can combine those terms. The -6 and the plus 29 make a +23. So now we have an x on both sides equation. And the first step of that, so we're just going to follow those steps that we just did in the first lesson. But first step, get rid of x from one side. So I've got 6x and a 3x. I'm going to get rid of the 3x by subtracting. It's going to leave us with 6x minus 3x is 3x. There's a +2 and a +23. Now we're left with one of those easy two-step equations. So I'm going to say solve the two-step equation. So get the x term by itself, divide by the number in front of x. We got x equals 7. So there we have it. So what I'm going to do is you're going to solve this exit problem now. See if you can get that solution on it on your own. I guess I'll do it on the video, so you can pause. I'll put the solution to this one on the video. And then for the practice, again, I've got 8 equations. You're going to solve them on your own or with help, and I will post a document with the final answers so that you can check your work. So work on this one. I'm going to solve it right now, but pause the video so that you have it done before I'm done. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times -3 is -6. The next bracket, -3 times x is -3x. -3 times 4 is -12. Equals 8. And notice what I just did there is I put an equal sign at the front because I'm just so used to doing that. But when we have equations, our equal sign's in the middle, so you don't put another one at the front because there's only ever one equal sign per line in a math statement. So we have that. The right side's done already. It's just 8. It's wonderful. The left side has a bit more work to do. 2x minus 3x is -1x. -6 minus 12 is -18. And this one, we don't actually have x on both sides. It's just a two-step right from there. So add the 18 to get the x term by itself. I get -x equals +26. And that -x, that's a -1x. So we're going to divide by -1 and get x equals -26 in that one. So that's it for the video, but you can check your answers to the other ones with the document I put on the classroom.